sit down and watch the film on the weekend, and I've got to say, congratulations. It is an absolutely fantastic film.
Oh, wow. Thanks. That's awesome to hear.
So, mate, what was your first thoughts when you first read the script for this film? Because it's a pretty intense film.
Yeah, my very first thoughts were actually how it was the father-daughter relationship that really stood out for me. There was the script at that stage had a really strong thread, the father-daughter thing, and that's what really attracted me to it.
Yep, yeah. There's also... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, and then obviously, it had this greater scale to it through all the VFX and the fantasy level of it. So yeah, it was, I hadn't read anything Australian like that.
Yeah, that was one of the things that really hit me about this film. If you went into this film not knowing that it was an Australian film, you would easily think that it was an American film or a British film. Was that something that really appealed to you, that kind of international appeal?
Look, yeah, definitely. I have felt for a long time, and because I've just spent almost a decade in LA, just seeing the business the film industry as a business, on a bigger scale, it has made my mind just sort of really start to understand the commerciality or the necessity to have a commercial level to a film, regardless of whether it's an independent film or not.
Yeah.
I think in the end, it can't just be art for art's sake. I think there has to be the two elements that sort of come together. Hopefully you can achieve something, artistically great, and at the same time be viable for the market.
Yeah. And do you think, in a way, the pandemic has kind of made Australian films even more commercial? Because I've been a huge fan of Australian films over the years, but I know a lot of people here in Australia who will go and see the latest American blockbuster over an Australian film, whereas I went and saw this film in a cinema on the weekend, and it was nearly a full cinema.
Oh, first of all, that's awesome to know that there was nearly a full cinema. I think what has happened with COVID is, number one, because we were all essentially, in inverted commas, locked away, we opened ourselves up to taking in entertainment in different forms, different genres, and in different ways.
Yeah.
So, if you weren't a YouTube watcher or you weren't a streaming watcher before, you probably are now. If you didn't accept someone's film who had no budget and no lights, and they just handheld, and that style you might have been opened up to that. I feel like our judgment, if you like, has fallen away a bit, and we've opened up to new experiences. And so, with that comes Australian films, local films. When you go, oh my God, this film. Well, that film might have been on at the cinemas for a week and then disappeared, and you didn't know it existed, and all of a sudden you saw it during the pandemic. And I just really feel it's softened us a bit to what's out there and what we're producing ourselves.
Yeah. Do you think it's also made Australian films, though, more universal? Because I work a lot in the Asian film industry, and suddenly I'm seeing Asian cinemas hunting down Australian films. We saw Blood Relic get screened in Thailand earlier this year, and now The Nightingale is being screened there. So do you think it's kind of given Australia more of an international edge now?
I definitely think, Australia's being looked at again, but now on a probably a greater scale. In terms of its universality, I think that comes with the themes that are being dealt with in these stories, in these films. I think ultimately, it's never just an Australian story, and it's Australian story with universal themes, and I think there are some solidly brilliant writers and filmmakers in Australia who are nailing those themes, those universal themes.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier the relationship in this film between Richard and Aria. For our listeners out there, tell us a little bit about that relationship, but also tell us a little bit about Richard as a character as well.
Yeah, look, this relationship is nothing more and nothing less than a father who loves his daughter and is trying to do the best he can by his daughter. Place in a life of I think I can say he's an ex-CIA. I don't want to give anything away. That's brought a complicated life for him and his family. And the thing that Richard is trying so hard to do is to make the right choices. Up until now, he feels strongly that he has made the right choices to look after his family and to guide his daughter, but the reality is that it's kind of all come undone.
Yeah.
So Richard as a character is someone who is trying to come to terms with the ramifications of whatever's happened in his past that he's responsible for, and how does he control the future, and that is impossible.
Yeah. Again,
so he's loaded up with things that feel insurmountable to him.
Yeah. Again, without giving anything away, you are in some very harrowing scenes in this film. How, as an actor, do you prepare for a day like that when you know what your character is going to be going through that day?
Preparation for that kind of harrowing experience. It was exhausting, but the thing about it was, I think, you want to find the why that's connected to the story. Why are we shooting this kind of stuff? And is it warranted? And you go, yeah. As long as you connect with the why and why this is happening to him, then you can drive yourself through as an actor through anything, any experience that the director demands, really. And you know what? It was I know this sounds like a strange thing, but it was kind of fun.
Yeah.
We had some physical thugs in Justin Cotter and George, the brothers. Don't quote me on trying to remember George's. George Burgess and John Heenis and Alex Menglet, right? These people that were roughing me up. They're all really good performers and physically aware people, and that's what makes it a good experience, where you kind of work out the choreography but try to make it look as real as possible. It was just a physical exertion. It was emotionally draining as well. It was very challenging. So it was a deep dive into my own connection with my own daughters. So all in all, it was I guess you said it was harrowing.
Yeah,
waffling on.
It's also a very interesting experience for you as an actor as well, because you're kind of reacting almost to a screen with Aria's reactions. How difficult was that for you, and how did they actually go about shooting those scenes? Because I'm guessing you and Charlotte weren't on set at the same time.
We weren't, and we shot my stuff first up.
Yep.
So I didn't have anything of Charlotte to work off. But she popped into the studio a few times and read a couple of scenes opposite me, which was great. But in a strange way, because of the isolation of my character, of Richard, it kind of helped that she was not there.
Yep.
But it was also, I had a lot to work off because I had Alex, and George and John and Justin all there. So I had stimulus because, I'm dealing with the torture and all of that. At the same time, Charlotte was inside a box and working off nobody but a screen. So, look, I don't even know if I've answered your question. I think I basically said Charlotte had a tougher job than I did, and she's brilliant.
Yeah. So the film basically comes together almost like a jigsaw puzzle because of the way that it was filmed. Did that kind of heighten that sense that you had when you went in to watch the film as a completed project for the first time? Because there would have been a lot of stuff in there that you would not have been able to see before.
I did not know. Yeah, there was so much I did not even realise. The level of the VFX, I mean, the whole, people will say it, that the elevator shafts and, oh my gosh, yeah, the level of effect was just incredible, especially for the budget that it was, being an Australian film, all of that stuff. The first viewing was, to quote Vinnie Jones from Lock Stock, it was emotional.
Yep. Yeah. And tell us a little bit about Antane as a director, because my first thoughts coming out of this movie was this is the new Christopher Nolan. The way that this film is shot, how beautiful it looks, even though the harshness of the storyline, there's something very Nolan-esque about that. So tell us a little bit about Antane and what he's like to work with.
I think Ant has the ability to be open and single-minded at the same time, and that is an admirable quality, I think, because essentially you want the strength of the director, the strength of vision, but to be open to the collaboration, and I think he was both. Look, I think he was an immediate communicator with me. We've become good friends. I think we get each other. I think he comes from a place of great ambition creatively. I think he's afraid of very little, and I think it shows.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Look, it's an absolutely amazing film. I said in my review that this absolutely blew me away. So I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to our listeners out there who are thinking about heading along to see this film?
Get online, book your tickets, go to it with an open mind, remembering that you are not going to see $100 million movie. You are not going to see a movie that had endless resources. You are going to a small budget film that is made by 100% Australians. It presents as an American film. It is American accented. It's really put your mind into a pure entertainment place. I think without trying to approach it without your film knowledge critique in a way, and just sit back and let it entertain you. The sound is phenomenal. The visuals are incredible. I think the relationship and the story between the father and daughter is very, very strong. If you're slightly emotional, you really, really enjoy it. And the score by David Hirschfelder is absolutely incredible. It's very stirring. So on the whole, it's just an experience, and that's what cinema is. It's an experience. You're going to a movie, so have fun.
Definitely.
Get popcorn. Have a large bucket of popcorn and a drink, because that's the best way to watch it.
Definitely, you absolutely nailed it. Jonny, again, thank you so much for chatting to us today on our show, and again, congratulations on being involved with such a brilliant film.
Thanks so much, and it's awesome to talk to you guys, and thank you so much for all the support. It means everything.
Not a problem, mate. I'll let you go. Have a great day, but hopefully we get to chat again when you're working on another project.
Absolutely. Thanks, Dave.
All right, mate. See you later. Bye.